Okay. Thank you for having me again, Leilah.
No, thank you for being my soul
Guide.
Okay, soul guide.
So today, we're going to have you do the talking.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have you as the expert on relationships.
Okay.
So I hear that you actually did a little posting this afternoon.
I did.
Do you want to share something about that?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's weird to have
I
you.
know. Changing
the
roles.
roles. So my post was we need relationships in order to.
Hi, Jill.
Hello.
Hi, Tony.
Okay, so my post was that we need relationships in life because relationships in life shows us our lessons and where our healing takes place, our true healing takes place. Without people and without relationships, we don't hurt, we don't grow. So how do you just go to an island all by yourself? You kind of have to...
You end up being shipwrecked, perhaps.
Yeah, perhaps. So you need people, and you need people to teach you about yourself, because people hold mirrors to part of you that needs to be healed.
Yeah.
And every relationship becomes like a circle and a cycle, because you evolve and you learn.
Hi, Sue.
Yeah. So you evolve and you learn, and the more you engage in relationships, the more aspects that you see of yourself.
Okay.
You know, within people, because every relationship, good or bad, is there for you to progress further and to evolve.
So are you referring to relationships of the romantic kind, or are you referring to all sorts and every sort of relationship you can think of?
Referring to our relationships with our partners, boyfriend, girlfriends, husbands, wives, friendships, friends, people we meet, any form of ship we get into.
I presume anything that has significant emotional impact on your life has that capacity.
Absolutely.
So obviously things like bosses or colleagues, it's not always just the positive relationships, it's also the negative ones, so the challenging ones that actually push you.
The karmic relationships, karmic tie relationships. Because we have different types of relationships. We have healing relationships, which is like soulmates. We have twin flame relationships. We have karmic tie relationships. And we have all these type of relationships that will help us. It could be our relationship with our mother. Many people who come in here, or most people, many people, I keep saying many, most people who come in here always say they have a trauma with the relationship with their mother, and because of the relationship with their mother, they end up in such a relationship where they feel like they're abandoned.
Apologies, I'm going to get you into the picture because I think you're doing the talking, Leilah, and you look so good. Go on, I'm sorry. Yeah, so as you were saying, like loads of people will come to me and tell me that, or we will, do a session, and in the session we find out, okay, the reason why you end up getting into relationships like this is because of maybe a childhood relationship where you were disengaged with your mother. So in that result, you have a mother wound, and because of your mother wound, you end up getting isolated, or you have this fear of being abandoned, or you have all these issues coming through. So then we end up in relationships with our partners who mirror the pain that we need to heal, or mirror the things that we have to really progress into. I guess sometimes the pain is also our comfort zone, isn't it, really? Because it's something that we know, the territory that we actually recognize, and therefore we play within that comfort zone because it's safer.
Oh, good, yes. Because this is why relationships are the biggest triggers. Because they take us out of our comfort zone, because we feel so deeply. And then when things come up for us, we're going to hold on. It's you're doing this, or you're making me feel like this, or why am I hurting like this? Because relationships are there to trigger you. Yeah.
How would you fix it?
I'd sit inside of it. Because remember...
Not run away.
No. Say, for example, I get triggered, or my boyfriend triggers me. It's really nothing to do with him. When I feel maybe I'm not getting attention, or if I feel like... I'm alone, or I feel like I may have a feeling of abandonment, I know this has got nothing to do with him or nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
It's all to do about me. Every relationship is about ourselves.
It's true, but the individual has to trigger you, though.
Absolutely, but they're triggering you.
Yeah.
So it's something that you're feeling because it's happening to you. So say, for example, we're in a relationship right now, and I go, oh, just get out of it.
snap out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And you go, hold on, that's a bit harsh.
Yeah, well, what about my feelings?
Exactly. So what is happening? What is this reminding me of? What is this triggering? So it's not me, because as far as I'm aware, I'm being really like just cool about it, but you're taking it really personal, and there's a reason why you're taking it personal. So there's something within yourself that you obviously need to heal.
Very good. I hear that. I hear that.
Thank you.
No, I hear that, but from working from my astrological perspective, relationships, I would look at Venus to see the nature of Venus. How is that Venus looking in the chart? Okay. Is it a healthy Venus? Is it needy? You know, the type of sign it's in. I'd also look at the 7th house. The 7th house is how we relate to other people. The sun sign is also important, I believe, because in some sense you want relationships to maybe reflect your truest potential. So in that sense, your relationships need to also gel with your sun sign.
That's true, but then that's very true, and obviously you're the astrological expert when it comes to these things, so I don't really know too much, so I understand that there's all this that has an impact on the relationship, and it's a reason why like Mars may trigger like something you would know of, but then I also believe that those two people who entwine together have come together for a reason, which is a soul contract.
But not all relationships are soul contracts, or are they? Or do you feel that's the case?
I feel many things is contracted with people. Absolutely.
I do believe that on a deeper level, there's whether you want to call it unconscious or soul, spirit contract, there is a connection, there is an agreement that's going on, but not all relationships. Or do you think all relationships have a contract on the line?
Relationships have a contract, because I think that everything in our life is going to mirror us on a conscious basis. So everything that happens to us consciously is triggering us on a conscious basis, Okay. So I think even like, for example, say if I go to the supermarket and this lady speaks to me in a belittling way, and it affects me somehow, anything that moves you and affects you is contracted for you.
Okay, I'll hold that for the moment. Okay. I'm just thinking like...
You're a great interviewer, by the way.
Am I? No, but I'm sort of thinking that perhaps when you're triggered by Joe Blogs in the street or someone in the supermarket, it's really... There may not even be a contract. It may just be, like you say, that person was just being quite cool about something, but something that was contained within the content or contained within the comment or the action or the body language, whatever it may be, that was what was needed for you to actually learn from the situation.
Yes.
But do you still think that would need to be a contract, even if it's a seemingly short-term moment?
He could come from your soul family.
Yeah.
So there's certain people in our soul family that we have resonance to, and certain people in our soul family that we don't have resonance to. Because if you look at the soul family, almost like that tree, and every branch on that tree is there too. So then we have resonance within that branch that's branching out those leaves. Then we'll have like maybe the opposite stem of that tree that branches in a different direction.
So it doesn't quite resonate.
So it doesn't really resonate. And there's that lesson there. What is that trying to teach us from our perception place? From a perception.
Yeah. It is about perceptions.
It is about perception.
It also held beliefs, isn't it? Really held beliefs, perceptions, our fears. So in terms of when you do your working, when you actually work with your clients, what sort of modalities do you use to actually get to the root of these problems?
So we look at the belief.
Yeah.
And in order for us to look at the belief, we go back and we ask you to tap. So for example...
Are we talking of EFT tapping?
No, so we tap into the theatre belief system. It's going into the belief of the brain. So we'll ask you, okay, so say for example, you come to me and you say to me that I've been having quite a lot of distress really in my relationship, and somehow my partner makes me feel like I'm not enough or I'm belittled. So I'm like, okay, and how does that make you feel? And then you tell me that I'm not enough.
Yeah.
So you have a belief going, I am not enough. So we'll say, okay, let's step back. Where does this belief come from?
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to close your eyes in a minute and take me back to a time and a place that you felt that you were not enough.
Mm-hmm.
So they go back to a childhood place, and this is where inner child therapy comes from.
Yeah.
They go back to a place where they feel that they are not enough. Okay. And this is where a lot of our subconscious programming lays. And because we have all these programs that I'm not enough, I don't feel good, I don't feel safe, I don't feel like I have a sense of belonging, which is the Maslow human need.
Mm-hmm.
To feel a sense of belonging, to feel a sense of trust and safety and need. That triggers people big time in relationships. So tapping through the belief, finding where the belief has started from, whether it started from childhood.
Yeah.
And it's going into that and clearing that belief.
And how do you clear?
We ask the adult child to meet the chronological child, so the chronological age, to go back and to reparent that belief.
Okay.
So we're repairing that belief by, okay, now I need you to close your eyes and I need you to go to little Walter and I need you to parent and reparent little Walter, because if that parent may not recognize that they made you feel like you're not enough, because it's how you perceive things as a child.
Absolutely, it is perception as well, yeah.
So as far as that parent was concerned, that parent made you and done what they could, but because the child had a different expectation or a different need of not feeling enough, or feeling mom is shouting at me, I'm not enough.
Yeah.
They have got this belief system that I'm not enough.
But is it possible, because I've always played with the idea that from an astrological point of view, we all come in with a set of programs, and therefore one same parent, 3 different children will see a very different aspect of the parent, and the aspect that they perceive is actually an aspect on their chart. So, I think we're talking about the same thing. So in some sense, what you see is really yourself. But how do you heal that then? How do you, I think I can see from an astrological point of view as to how to approach such a problem or how to approach a challenge of that sort. But how would you, if you then took into consideration that what you are perceiving as a young child, you are seeing your reflection, but you're not really recognizing that that's your reflection?
Mirror work.
Mirror work.
Yes,
I like that.
Work.
Yeah.
So what I usually do, if you go into the room at the back, you'll see there's a long mirror.
Yeah.
So in a session, I'd say, let's get the mirror out. And everyone looks at me like, no.
This is not a
and
fashion
I'm like,
show.
We have to do the mirror work. Because it's something that you will see.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the subconscious sees the shadow. And people are afraid of the shadow, because the shadow is an untold voice that we don't like to go to.
Yeah.
Because it's the voice that tells you, you are not enough. Because us as humans, we always want to be fed with love, positive reinforcement, and positive congruency all the time. So we get the mirror out and trying to reconnect. Okay.
We're back.
This comments on my thingy. Can you read that?
Beautiful lady inside and out. Unicorn Crystals UK. Such truth in everything she says. Yeah, she knows what she's talking about. She's a relationship expert.
I am not. You don't think my
I'm only joking.
I think some people will agree with that.
No, she works miracles when it comes to actually relationships, isn't it? You facilitate the healing of the way people relate to other people.
I do, but I like to help people first, because if people come with a relationship issue, many problems of today's society, it's not the outside. It's people fighting the inside. People who come and tell me, I have a relationship crisis, I'm going through domestic abuse, sexual abuse, rape. I get this a lot. A lot of people who's gone through trauma, it's because there's a compliant behavior and a belief system that they have carried within them since a child. And that inner little child needed safety, love, and security. When those needs are not met, the adult seeks this in an adult, which is the dynamic of the codependent or the empath versus the narcissist, whichever dynamic you look at that.
Yeah.
And when that person doesn't supply those needs, they go back and they shrivel. And then the little inner child comes out. my needs are not met. I don't feel safe. I'm scared.
That's quite intense, though.
It's intense, but the healing is intense. To heal is to become conscious and to evolve and to learn.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's inner child work is painful. Mirror work, shadow work, it's painful. But in order for us to go into the light, we need to recognize and honor our darkness.
And how long do these processes take? Generally, I mean, what would people be looking at in terms
I think every process is different from everybody.
Of course, yes.
Because some people have primary and some people have secondary gains.
Yeah.
So some people come and they go, I really want to heal. I really want to do the work. Is that from you?
Yeah, she says, I can't seem to find my soulmate. How do I attract my soulmate?
Now that's not actually hard, because lots of people come and they ask that question. I can't attract my soulmate. That's because it's a part of you that's learning and yearning for yourself right now.
Yeah.
So many people, and I know this sounds cliche, because they say before you find your soul, mate, you've got to find your soul first. But there's something internal that you need to have a look at that needs to feel like it's being fed. Because usually people that are looking for their soulmate externally are seeking that love and that comfort. And that's usually what the person of the soulmate is looking for, is running from.
They're running from?
Yeah. Because they're not seeing what they need on the inside.
I see, okay. Yeah. So once they start to see what's on the inside, they'll start to attract.
Yes. So who's that question from?
That's from Nira.
From
my
Nira.
Dear friend from...
Okay, so that's from Nira. I'm looking at two phones, two screens.
Yeah, there's another one. Nira's done that twice. Nira, ask for forgiveness. Okay, should we be watching this as well?
Oh, I know, but I just want to say something to Nira. Nira, like, by reading your message, I feel like, yes, so love yourself first. Yes, absolutely. But Nira, reading from your message, I feel like you're very empathic. And I feel like you're very sensitive. And I almost feel like every relationship that you enter, and I'm not doing readings here.
Sounds like you are, actually.
Okay, but I feel like every relationship that you're entering, there's no fulfillment there, because I feel like you're looking for a deeper connection. And I feel like the deeper the connection you're searching for is the connection of yourself, the creative force within love. I feel like, you know, Nira?
I do, yes.
Is she quite poetic, quite empathic, quite deep?
What do you think, Nira? Are you very... There you go, she's from Kenya.
Oh, she's from Kenya, so very passionate, very deep. Okay, but I'm just feeling like her energy, I feel like people don't really understand her intensity and her depth, and this is something that she needs to honor of herself first and really embrace of herself really deep within. You know, once you can truly recognize who you are and what your needs are, I feel like then you'll find a deep validation from someone who meets your needs and who will benefit those needs from you, because love is like, it's a both, you know, it's a give and it's a take.
Absolutely.
You have to honor yourself, but once you can truly honor yourself, then you can honor the next person.
I think you're quite right there. I think that the initial stage of actually truly finding someone who actually completes you, you got to find yourself first.
You do.
You have to actually feel complete in yourself. And only then can you actually meet the world to actually find, not the other half, but the reflection that actually allows you to almost dance in the moment.
And this is exactly what love should be like. Love is not meant to be a battlefield. Love is not a war. Oh, yes, let's get a battle on. Love is not meant to be a battlefield, but love is meant to be a dance. You know, you take one step forward and you move, so your partner comes through and he takes a step forward, or she, and you move with each other with grace. Love is meant to flow. And you know, the human society, we all have this expectation of love is meant to be a certain way, love is meant to be this way and that way. But in fact, true love, I feel, should be a space where you can hold space for each other authentically, so that person can still evolve and learn with no judgment.
Absolutely. I think a lot of problems arise when you've got a relationship where the other tries to hold you down and you don't actually blossom.
Yeah, no, that's not.
Because they initially fall for you because you are blossoming.
and then they want to hold you and keep you just the way you are, and you end up being stagnant. And I think it's important that in a relationship there has to be that space. There has to be that sort of recognition where people are allowed to grow as individuals.
They shouldn't, you know, a true relationship is to allow someone to become the better version of them. You know, we mustn't forget to honor our partners. You know, we mustn't get to that state where our relationship becomes stale, that what they're doing for us becomes normal. You know,
expected.
Absolutely expected. You know, there should always be like, I'm grateful for you. I'm thankful for what you've done. You know, I honor this man so this man can continue to grow and to evolve and to be the better version of himself. And I think these are healthy tools for relationships.
Absolutely. But there's also the recognition that no relationship is ever perfect. There will still be triggers. And so that space has got to also accommodate moments of anxiety, frustration.
And that's healthy.
Exactly, because I think when you actually look at all these romantic movies, you get this impression that it's got to be flowers and chocolates and...
Yeah, not in the real world.
Exactly, and I think that sort of creates a stilted perception of what love is all about. It's all sweet, but there's no sweat. There's no sweat and tears that allows for true growth to occur. As you said, it is a triggering that we actually have, whether it be through friendships or through the odd comment in a shop or something that we've experienced in the moment. It's those moments of triggering that somehow break and create that crack to grow through and to grow from.
Absolutely. Without those triggers and all those cracks, we will not appreciate the person.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll also not really appreciate our true selves. Because to be authentic is to be imperfectly flawed.
Imperfectly flawed. I'll have to sit with that one.
Or perfectly flawed.
Yeah.
In a sense. You know what I'm trying to say?
You.
So, no, it's fine. You're making me think, what am I saying now? I need to think before I talk. No, but to be authentic, you need to kind of accept each other with perfection and with flaws.
Yes. So Nira is actually saying she is an empath, and I resonate with what both of you are saying.
Thank you.
Very wise words, Vicky Fish.
Oh, thank you, Vicky. Mwah. Oh, but the boys are good. She comes in here with the boys.
Oh,
so sweet. Yes. Yeah. So I do believe that, you know, relationships can be beautiful, and some people, they struggle in relationships because they self-sabotage themselves quite a lot in a relationship, because sometimes the pain holds them back, and then what happens? They end up bleeding on other people because they have unhealed pain.
How do you stop bleeding?
By first healing.
Yeah, so who do we go to if you're bleeding?
Ourselves.
Yeah, but obviously, if it's not work...
Who are you going to go to if you bleed because of emotional...
Facilitator.
Oh yeah, a facilitator.
I was trying to actually plug you, lady.
Sorry.
No, seriously. I mean, obviously, there are times, as we brought up the other day, we can all have our tools to actually heal, but sometimes if we're too close and we're too resonant with the issue at hand, we may require outside help to facilitate and expand that space. Yeah. Excuse me, and to really push the boundaries as to how far the pendulum swings, so you actually move away from that area of self-sabotage or the area of that energy that's holding you back, and then through that swing or through that gap, you're then able to then find the middle ground, and with more work you actually move further and further away. And again, it's not about disassociating from the issue, it's about healing it, isn't it? It is about healing the wounds. It's not about I'm pretending that I'm all perfect. It is about healing the wounds. So what is your... Now I'm going to switch it to you. Oh, okay. Am I allowed to? Absolutely. Okay. Excuse me. That's it. Clearing there. We're both clearing. Also, the air is just dry. Have a drink. Yeah, I have a Kit Kat. Have a break, have a Kit Kat. Yeah, let's have a break. So, there's no green man! Well, there you go. Relationship issues. With themselves. There is no green man. Maybe he needs the mirror.
Because maybe he's walking without consciously being self-aware.
Or maybe he was just very angry.
And where does the anger come from?
Just being very angry.
Secondary.
From deep inside.
What was I asking you?
Yeah, you sort of stopped. Go on.
So I was asking you, so according to people's astrological charts,
yes,
can they improve their relationship
Absolutely.
with anyone? Or is it something that you feel, because we all have this thing that if I'm a Cancerian or he's Virgo, Scorpion or Libra,
yes.
Is there that ability to really match your relationship vibration?
I think on a superficial level, I would say everyone should be able to, in theory, get on with everyone. In theory.
Okay.
But it has to be said that if the chart reflects the identity of the person, and this, let's make it really quite simple. Let's just say this person is very active, and we then look at another person who has a chart that says, I really like my comfort. I really like sitting down watching the telly, and I don't mind the occasional hug and pizza on the sofa and watching telly, and I want it easy. As much as there may be attraction, I would think because of the differences in personality, you would actually get some kind of friction where both parties would have to accept that the other party is that way. As long as we actually look at a relationship and think that we're going to gel and we're going to merge and become half of one, like people say, here's my other half, here's my other half. That's where I think you're going to have problems.
Yeah.
Because as long as you think that you're going to have a person and they're going to somehow join you at the hip and they will somehow become molded in your image and you will somehow mold towards their image, then you're going to have problems. But if you then accept that actually every relationship is a space where the individual, as you mentioned before, is able, each party of the relationship is able to grow to the fullness of who they are, that's where I think a recognition of the true consciousness of each individual must be taken into consideration. Because if you're looking at, I'm not saying low level, this is not about grading it, but some people are generally more perhaps seeking in wanting to grow, seeking in actually sort of bettering themselves constantly. When you get two individuals of that sort who are completely different personality wise, they will seek to grow regardless of the fact of that there's this dissonance between their personalities. But if you've got two individuals who are very stuck in their ways and saying, well, actually, old school, I really want this, it's almost like as soon as you got the marriage band on your finger, you're joined at the hip, and you become a reflection of the other. And I think that creates a very deep level resentment, deep level anxiety, deep level frustration, because both parties then become stilted, become stuck, because they're no longer allowing each other to really grow and blossom.
Yeah, that's very true. I think that's also an expectation that many people have of a pre-programmed form of a relationship as well. But I really like what you're saying over there.
Thanks so much for making me understand soulmates and how we have to heal ourselves first. Thank you so much, both of you.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Who's that?
It's my old teacher. She used to teach me when I was at school, when I was, I think, 10, 11. Okay.
Oh, I'm trying to, interesting how the angry person has outburst near your shop. It should take a step inside.
He might break something. Yes. Bull in China shop situation.
Guys. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you have any questions, about your relationship, or maybe you're finding your relationship quite challenging, maybe, you have an expectation of your relationship, these are all maps and all roads that leads to part of yourself that we'll always ask you to have a look at. Because, like I was saying earlier, if there's anything that people are uncomfortable about, it's usually something to do with what they are projecting Because in relationships, it's a big dynamic of projection that goes on, and transference.
Yeah.
And projection is basically when, so how do I make this sound really simple? Like when we project our own trauma that we cannot take responsibility of, that comes from a place from in ourselves that needs the attention.
And that's why you've been triggered.
And that's why you're being triggered. So all relationships are there. When you get to a point when you're in a relationship, which is a really nice place, you know, where you get into a relationship where you find that you have peace and you have an understanding, that you can accept the person as an individual, as someone who's on their journey. That's when a relationship becomes truly beautiful. But if you keep having an expectation of how a relationship should be and what is expected from your partner, that's when things start to...
But I think the moment you actually use the word expectation, though, it usually implies that there's some kind of joining at the hip going on here.
Yeah, and this is why I said what you were saying a moment ago was so profoundly true. It's giving space for people as individuals to grow in relationships.
I mean, in the past, what I've actually found is that, you know, I am a Scorpio moon. And so there's a lot of intensity about my personality. There's a lot of intensity when it comes to emotions and stuff. And when relationships begin, when I was a lot younger, I would just, there's almost like a kind of like a, oh my God, we're in a relationship. It's really, really intense. And you get caught up in this.
I've been in those situations.
Absolutely. And it's very exhilarating.
Yeah.
But it's also, after a while, you find that you've actually created almost like clamps on each other.
Yeah.
And you can't grow.
That's so
And unfortunately, it tends to sort of like, the clamps have to crack if you're going to grow.
And it doesn't usually end up very well.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. But this is because many people, what we're speaking about, the intensity in relationship, is passion.
Yeah.
And passion could be the depth of your pain.
That could be, I can hear you.
The intensity of your passion can be the intensity of your pain.
Wow.
So to get into a relationship so intensely and so submerged can be a very painful process because everything becomes intensified.
But I guess it can also reflect that, you know, if you're going to be conscious about your growth and your development, the level and the depth of your passion can be a good indicator, barometer of how deep your pain may be as well.
Absolutely.
Because you're seeking the other person to somehow feel something.
Yeah.
You know?
And then your expectations, because this comes up with your passion, that is not met with that person. And that's where the intensity grows, because you're feeling each other's passion.
Yeah.
And that's where the pain starts. And this passion relationship is usually to do...
Hi, Angie.
Hello. Yeah, so these passionate relationships is usually a karmic relationship.
Oh, you reckon?
Yes. So we have 5 different types of relationships. Karmic relationships are usually quite intense, quite passionate, and they start, and like everything in a karmic relationship is passion. The sex is unbelievably intense.
Okay.
Like, no, seriously. In the karmic relationships, the sex is really intense, the physical connection is very intense, and usually can be quite violent.
Okay.
And I hate to bring dark things into our conversations and stuff.
Leilah, I'm starting to learn you do. You bring in the dark all the time.
And the light. And the light. Yeah, but karmic relationships are very unhealthy relationships. Karmic relationships, when people feel things very fast, they're like, oh, I've known this guy forever. Our connection is so strong. It's so intense. And I want to be with him. Oh, and when we're together, it's like magnets. It's like fireworks. These relationships are not really healthy.
But there must be some redemption in them. There must be something about them.
Yes, growth.
Okay.
Your biggest growth comes from karmic tie relationships.
Okay.
They are extremely hard relationships to get out of, and they can be extremely toxic.
You see, from an astrological point of view, sorry to bring about the astrology again, we would look at the nodes of the moon.
Okay.
So if you've got lots of contacts between your planets and the other person's nodes, that could indicate a kind of karmic link as well. And the type of planet that's making contact to the node will also define, obviously if you're having a relationship, but it will then define the trigger that is actually of the karmic nature.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, let's just say it was Venus on the other person's node, then you could actually say this person would trigger you around your value system, about your worth, your capability, about your sensuality, about your physical being, your ability to be fruitful. All that will actually be triggered because of that contact. If the node was making their node was making contact to your Mercury, they could make you feel intellectually insignificant. They may make you feel like you can't talk, or something's wrong with your throat chakra, where you're not actually able to convey. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I relate to that. I relate to that information. I've had some relationships in my past that was really, really toxic, that I've really had to learn a lot of these lessons. Yeah. So I can relate with a lot of these things. Yeah, for sure. Lots of healing and lots of growth comes from these places. Luckily, I don't listen.
Still fine. Something was said before. Can I scroll?
Yeah, sure.
It says, I found contentment when I let expectations go. I have been married for years, but still find outside people can't understand how I accept perceived flaws and think I've settled.
Okay. So can you hello Bernadette, Nicholas and Nicoletta. You know, so many people are switching on and off.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are actually streaming from Facebook, and there's quite a hello, and then from Instagram. So that was Vicky.
Oh, that was
Vicky.
Yes, that was Vicky.
Yeah.
So that's true. Expectations can be quite detrimental to a relationship. Coming back to the fact that I said passion-wise, what I've actually actively started doing in terms of relationships is to actively cut ties, so that when I actually feel that I'm becoming too enmeshed, too sort of absorbed with an individual, I will cut ties to ensure that I'm still actually me and that they are still them. Because I think there's nothing worse than to almost feel like you're holding on. And because that holding just takes too much effort.
Yeah, and it's destructive. Holding on to relationships like this, it's destructive because you end up hurting yourself.
Absolutely, because you're using energy just to maintain a status quo, just to maintain a sense of safety. And I guess the more crucial question would be, why don't you feel safe? Isn't it? And I mean, if you were working with a person like that, you'd say, why do you not feel safe?
And that could be because the other person is trying to... So, say for example, we're in a relationship and I don't feel safe. That gives me more reason to be in that relationship.
But why?
To feel safe, because this is what happens with codependent people.
You see, I work differently.
Not with me, I'm saying, but I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, for me, I work differently. The moment I feel unsafe, I back away.
Yeah, but that's you, not everybody. And that's good with you if you can feel that, because that shows you have a boundary.
Yeah.
And you are listening to your self-care and your self-honoring. Not everybody has this. Why do you think there's a story of the battered housewife? Why do you think there's a dynamic with the narcissist and the empath?
Yeah.
You know, these are things when people recognize that they don't feel good, that they yet still stay in that relationship because they're trying to heal. This is where codependency comes from. They're trying to heal the next person, or they're trying to do this from the unhealed wound from themselves, which is the martyr archetype.
The martyr.
Martyr archetype, yeah. It's trying to heal someone.
Apologies about the cough.
Have a drink.
Yeah. Chin chin.
It's brandy in that, by the way.
It is Coca-Cola. Agree, totally healthy relationships is allowing both partners to be free people. Hi, Bernadette. Hi, Bomber.
You know, when you can get into a relationship dynamic where you can feel like you're free of expression, you're free to do things that you want, you're free to be you without being apologetic for being you.
Yeah.
It's when you can find your truth in a relationship. That's when you know you're in a healthy form relationship.
But you know, I know this sounds really odd, but I always find that I feel that way when I'm single. When I'm single, I actually feel that way.
But that's good, because that shows that you have a healthy relationship with yourself.
Yeah, but the moment you actually have a relationship with someone else, you tend to actually start to accommodate, don't you? It's natural. You start to, I won't say you adapt, you don't change completely. But, you know, as a very simple example, let's just say you like going out clubbing, dancing and stuff. When you're in a relationship, you wouldn't be doing that as well. You wouldn't be going hang out with your friends. You'd be.
I think that's important. I actually do think that's important. And I think for people who are in partnerships and in a relationship, it's important that they uphold the identity to themselves. So it's important that
and
they
100%?
do that. Well, to a balance, I would say. Yep, that would probably be the sample here.
Oh, okay.
That's fine. But it's important to hold your individuality. So, you know, say if I'm in I'm in a relationship, right? So it's very important for me still to go off and do what I need to do.
Absolutely.
Whether it's self-loving baths, whether it's space for myself to heal, that's still quite important.
Absolutely,
so
but there's still some give though, isn't it? You don't maintain your identity at 100%. There's a switch. There is a switch. What sort of percentage would you be looking at? Or would you say that's more fluid?
I think it's more fluid. I think it's one of those unspoken things. So say say my partner or my boyfriend or whatever, you know, he goes away and he says, I'm going to do that. And it's like, okay, that's fine. You know, you have this, this compromise in still having your space and still having your own time. I never looked at it more on a scale, but as long as it's at a healthy state, that you're not constantly escaping each other, or, you know, it's finding that balance. That is.
I think that's a very good comment. Escaping each other. I think the moment you find that you are escaping each other, it's time to say goodbye.
Bye-bye, love. I've had enough of you, honey.
This ain't working.
No. Next door. Move on. Okay.
Compromise is the word. Hello. So there's another one. Oh, that's yours. Okay, there's nothing else.
Yeah.
Wow. That's been an interesting talk. Is there anything else you want to share?
No, thank you. And thank you for questioning me and taking me to really weird spaces.
I liked it. I absolutely liked it.
Did anyone else like it? If you have any feedback or if you have any questions to ask, please message Walter and myself. But no, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So all those questions on there. I can't see.
Can you not? You need your glasses.
No, I'm wearing contacts.
Are you? Those contacts need to be changed. It says compromise is the word. That's it. Bye, people.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye. Oh, we got.